Today we're going to show you how to set up your first model using the Model Wizard. You access the Model Wizard by going to the base menu and to Model Select. I'm going to find a spare space for the model, so you see I have a few here, so I'm going to go to the next page. Well, you have number 7. When you touch the model, it's activated, turns blue, and all we have to do now is click New. No means I made a mistake, I don't want to do this. Wizard, please use the wizard and manual to set up your aircraft manually. Let's use the wizard so you can see how it works. The first screen it takes you to is the model name screen. You can use the alphanumerics to create the model. We'll call this one Wiz for wizard. As you type, it fills in on the blue bar here on the top. This is a space, this is a erase, this is a backspace, and this is equals. And equals is the same as enter, and it puts the name down here in the new model name. Touching the wizard. The next screen asks us what type of vehicle are we going to use. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll just use an airplane. And now we're on the wing type screen. Up here on top it says normal. If you have a Delta application, touch it, and now you get Delta settings. If you need to go back to normal, touch it again, and you're back to normal. This is a very nice screen because it shows some details that weren't here previously. If we need to know, first of all, how many flaps and how many aileron servos do we have. For clarification, if you have 2 aileron servos plugged into a Y, that is only one aileron. If you have 2 flap servos plugged into a Y, that is only one flap servo. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 ailerons and 2 flaps, so we'll choose this icon down here on the left. If you look closely, the 2 and the 5 indicate the aileron channels, the 6 and the 7 indicate the flap channels. Kind of nice, you don't even have to go to the book to see which area you have to plug into. So touching 2 ailerons and 2 flaps. We then go to the tail select function. We're going to use a normal tail with this aircraft. And we can go gas, electric, or power, so we're going to go electric just for purposes. So the next screen we went to is called the reverse subtrim screen. This is where you'd reverse your channel if the servo is going the wrong way. I'm going to reverse channel 4 just by touching it. Now it's reversed. Now it's normal. Additionally, there's some subtrims here if you'd like to do that later. Going to the wizard. This screen is the endpoint adjust. The endpoint adjustment is used to limit the throws of your servos. Most of the time you'll do this to limit the throws on your aircraft if your servo arms are too long or if you need less control. So when you're setting up your aircraft, it'll say in the manual whether you want 20 degrees of deflection or 36 centimeters deflection. You could set the endpoints here if necessary. Initially, we don't know this stuff when we're setting up to this wizard, so we're going to leave it alone for right now. The next screen is your dual rate exponential screen. DR stands for dual rates, EXP for exponential. Over here on the left, CH stands for channel, DR for dual rate, EX for exponential, CT for control, and symmetry or simultaneous here was on and off. We'll talk about that in a minute. First, I want to talk about control. On any screen that you see CTL, that stands for the word control. If you see a null or inhibit or something of that nature, all you have to do is tap it and you get a select screen. In this case, it's asking us what do we want to assign our dual rate switch to. So if I click no, it means I made a mistake. I didn't mean to do that. If I click clear, it means clear out the current value. And lastly, logic allows us to do a logical switch, which provides for an A and B type function or or B function. Anytime you see this select screen, it's asking for that control. In this case, we're going to use switch 4. So all we have to do is move switch 4. I'm going to move switch 4. And now you can see switch 4 got assigned to the control. So we're going to show you what symmetry or symmetrical looks like. If I touch dual rate, I only activate one side and I would be increasing and decreasing just the one side. If I turn on symmetry, now I can control both sides simultaneously, so I can decrease this down to say 70%. Exponential provides a softer touch in the middle of the stick, so that when you're moving your aileron stick or whatever control it is, it's not so sensitive in the middle, but it will give you full controls as you move to the outside. This is really good for beginners who tend to over control, or for other flyers who have a little shaky hands and they can't hold the stick center. So dual rates helps with that. It makes the aircraft less sensitive in the center of the stick, but still provides for full control as you move to the full throws of the stick. So dual rates are common, and typical we'll look at about 20% on a low rate. I'm going to make this 20. Okay, so now I made 70% and 20% for the aileron. So what I'm going to do now is move the switch to the next position, and I'm going to change this rate to 90%. Maybe let's make it 80%. And now I have a higher rate, and often the exponential will be higher as well. So I'm going to increase this to about 25. Exponential is a matter of personal preference. There is no standards. People who fly 3D often have real high exponentials in the center so they can get the real controls, but they don't want it to overreact when they're in the center of the stick. So we set another rate of 80% with a 25% exponential, and let's move the switch. Now we're at our full rates. I'm just going to increase the exponential here and leave the 100% there. But I'm going to add 30% exponential. So now you see we have aileron with 3 rates. So I'm going to move switch 4. The current rate is 100 at 30 in the middle position. I'm 80 at 25 and 70, 20. And you can see the graph on the left hand side change in the throttle stick, the aileron stick motion if I move it. That's how simple it is to set up your dual rates. If you want to set up dual rates for the other controls, you can touch the aileron button and do the same for the elevator. Touch it again, do the same for the rudder, and touch it one more time, and we're back to aileron. Now, unlike earlier times with transmitters, the dual rates are not signed to a specific switch anymore. You can pick any switch you want, and you can use that switch as many times as possible. So you can use the same switch for all 3, aileron, elevator, and rudder, or you can use different switches. It's totally up to you. Going to the wizard. So I touched the wizard. This is the throttle cut or motor control. If you select electric motor, it puts motor up here on top of the screen. If you select throttle cut, it'll show throttle cut up. If you select nitro, throttle cut will be up there, sorry. Okay, here's how it works. I'm going to move the throttle stick over here. Can't reach that way, can't see. Okay, we have control of the throttle. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to apply a control right here. So I'm going to touch this and move switch number 6, I think. All right, and now you can see the switch. Okay, and I'm going to use throttle cut on this switch here, I think. Now, what I'm going to do is touch the off. So the center position of the switch is going to be the throttle cut position. Okay, touch the wizard and go back. And so now I'm going to put the switch in another position. If the throttle's up or down, we get the movement. And I flip the switch, and still nothing's happening. And the reason nothing is happening is there's an ACT. So ACT is a short abbreviation for active, and right now it's inhibited, so I will turn it on. Now with it not inhibited, you will see the switch change. See the switch change? All right, with it off, I have throttle. With it on, no matter what I do to the stick, I don't have throttle. Throttle cut's important for 2 reasons. If you have a nitro or gas engine, you're going to want to shut the engine off as you taxi in without having to mess with your throttle trims. With an electric motor, it's nice to have a throttle cut, because I've seen many people bump the throttle stick on their pants leg as they're reaching over to pick up their aircraft. So having a throttle cut that disables the stick is really nice to have. We're done with the throttle cut, and let's go ahead and touch the wizard. When we get done, we see a review of what we've chosen. We've chosen an airplane, a normal wing, 2 ailerons, 2 flaps, a normal tail, and an electric motor. And now that we're done, there's an E and T here in the corner for enter, and touch it, and we are done with your aircraft. So the wizard took us through all the things that would be necessary to set your aircraft up to fly. It took us through the model. We went through the model select screen, the model type screen, the endpoint adjustment, the reverse and sub-trim screen, and the motor screen. In addition, we went to the function menu and went to dual rates and did dual rates as well. So now that we've set up our first model, it's very easy to take a look and see how it works. On the base menu screen, you will see Servo. Touch the Servo, and that shows us our servo activity as we move sticks around. So I'm going to move the throttle first. You can see it moves up and down. I'm going to move the rudder, and now I'll move the ailerons. We've set up for 2 ailerons, okay, and then elevator. You can get to this screen in many ways. You can get to it here at the servo function, or you can get to it by pressing both these 2 mechanical arrow keys at the same time on the left-hand side. You can just see them off screen. I push it that way so you can see them. So if you touch these 2 together, you'll get the same screen, okay? And that's our wizard, and that's the end of this session. Have a good day.